If you were to build a business today,
Yes.
what would you do differently?
I don't know if I would do anything differently, and more importantly, back to bringing as much value to the audience as possible. I think the thing I think most about is, am I putting myself in a position to succeed, and will this work? And I think if you ask those questions, one of the biggest things that everyone who's listening needs to think about is, do I like this? Am I good at it? Like, why am I doing this? Am I doing, real estate because my other friends say you can make money in real estate? Am I doing cannabis or crypto or something else because it seems like it's hot? Am I doing social media influencer because that seems easy? To me, the reason I don't think about things differently, there's a million things I can do differently on everything I do. VFriends, VaynerX, Wine Library, Garyvee brand, the books. But I don't think about it from the small little things. I think about it from the big things. And I think most people get the big thing wrong. They don't put themselves in a position to succeed. They either are delusional and think they're better at something than they are, which I understand. Like, we all want to hope and dream, and it's okay to go for it. But I do think that too many people struggle with self-awareness. And I do think that building something meaningful, meaning living life on your own 2 feet and not working for someone, which means it's a constant pressure. It's all on you. I do think it requires you enjoying it if you're gonna do it long term, because in the hard days, the fact that you wake up and still want to do it because you like it helps a lot. And when you're just doing it for the money, you're gonna give up more often than not. And so that's how I think about it. It's hard for me to talk about I don't talk about finding why a lot.
No,
right?
You don't.
I really don't. Yeah, I really don't. It's because I don't think I have a great point of view on it, because for me it was so natural. It was so early. I mean, I genuinely don't remember a time where I didn't want to be a businessman, And so for me, it came very early. But I do talk about tasting different things. I do talk a lot about taking advantage of your 20s and 30s. I do talk about even in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, understanding it's not quote unquote over, that there is opportunities. But I think one thing that I think you have, this is a strength of yours if I could watch it from afar. I think people say no too much and don't say maybe enough.
Yeah.
And I think I've been becoming more and more passionate about the concept of maybe. I'm in maybe all the time. Most things become no, but many things do become yes. And I do think that that's something that people need to think about.
Yes.
Like AI, no, that's going to be bad. It's going to take jobs, without ever spending 10 hours of research. The blockchain, no, especially now. Oh, NFTs were bad. No. Do you actually understand? Or TikTok, well, I missed it. It's too late. Well, actually, it's not. The way TikTok's built is it's based on the individual post, and starting tomorrow is just as viable as starting 2 years ago. And so I think that people say no. And so I think for the people listening, trying to find their why, if it didn't come natural to you, there's people that wake up and at 6 years old, they want to be a stay-at-home mother or father. At 6 years old, they want to be a teacher. At 6 years old, they want to be a firefighter. At 6 years old, they want to be a doctor. At 6 years old, they want to be an entrepreneur. But for a lot of people, it's not that easy. It doesn't come that natural. And I do think that people need to keep pushing themselves. Take a pottery class. Go to a concert of a different style of music. People don't make themselves uncomfortable, or they're not curious enough, or they're not willing to, try out of fear. And I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
When did you decide to build, and why, your personal brand instead of focusing on other people's brands? So how did you decide to just put all your eggs in this basket as opposed to kind of putting your eggs in a bunch of different baskets?
For me, it's because I'm actually a business operator. I built a big wine retail and e-commerce business before I became Garyvee. I mean, don't forget, very different than you guys and most of people's tracks now. I was 30 years old and had built a business before I ever made my first video. I didn't grow up in this generation.
Wow.
If I did, I probably would have. I probably wouldn't have, we'd probably be laughing right now and showing videos of baseball card kid, Gary, you know, it's like a 15-year-old saying, buy the Frank Thomas rookie card. Like I just didn't grow up in that era. And so for me, the reason I could build VaynerMedia and the reason I don't, you know, just live off of being me, like I always say, like I'm the CEO of VaynerMedia. I run businesses. I'm a venture capitalist who plays Garyvee at times. I like this. Like I think it's important. It brings opportunity, but it's at the end of the day, in my purest form, I'm a businessman much more than I am a personality. And so what VaynerMedia did for me was it scales my marketing skill set to deploy against people or brands or my own brands. I want to buy brands in the future, so that's kind of my play on that.
Love it.
Yeah, I think for everybody, you need to really think about how you want to monetize this. Are you going to deploy it against a product? Like, I had a deal from Target and CAA to do a wine glass that I probably would have been millions of dollars on. It would have been in every Target store. It would have been the big wine glass. It would have been the product this season. I didn't feel like I could vig the outcome. And let me break this down. This is gonna be the most valuable part of things. The place where you wanna make your money is the place where you think you have the most control, not where you can make the most money.
That's great.
And it's something that I haven't really talked about, so I'm glad, I feel like we got to something.
We've kind of been battling that on the blog.
Can you like elaborate on
Keep
this?
going.
Okay.
Books are an interesting place that I play in. It's one of the places I monetize because I can control it. I sell the books, not HarperCollins, not Amazon, not Barnes & Noble's, me. I can dictate it. Doing a sponsorship deal with a wine glass, like at that point I wasn't big enough to feel that I was gonna drive thousands, if not tens of thousands of people into Target to buy it. Maybe 1,000, maybe 3,000, but not enough for Target to care if that was the only people that bought it. So what you wanna do is always set yourself up in a place where the outcome is impressive to whoever you collaborate with or the market. Right? So like if you can sell your own music direct to consumer digitally and you get 1 million downloads and you did it, well now you have leverage. And so everything's about leverage. And what happens is too many people take the short-term money and what happens is then there's a result. There's too many, for example, I won't call them out because I don't like negativity, but there's 12 to 15 social media experts who get paid to speak and get paid to consult, whose books sold 2,000-3,000 copies. If you're so good at social media marketing, then wouldn't have you done that to sell your book? And so these conversations are happening behind the scenes, not publicly. I won't throw them out like other people, but there's people not hiring them or they have them as a C-class citizen because they're like, well, look at their book scan numbers. Like, I think I run on requirement and intuition. You know, I have a lot of responsibilities. So we're now, because I was a little bit late this morning, we're a couple of minutes over. There's a call going on right now with BeatFriends and a collaborator that's very important.
Yes.
I'm 3 minutes late, but I felt that because I was a little bit late this morning and you came all the way out here that I didn't want to cut our time short. These are decisions that are happening every second, especially for someone as busy as I am. I have 3 full-time admins. I have 2 chief of staffs. I think what I do well is I don't let meetings run long. I talk about that a lot.
I know.
1 hour meetings could be 30-minute meetings could be 15. I think I put my money where my mouth is. Most people don't hire 3 admins. And so they get the results of 2 admins or 1 admin. The biggest mistake I think a lot of people make, and don't forget, I did my own admin work for 10 years.
Of course.
Excuse me, 1998. I did my own admin for 13 years. So I understand what it's like when people hear me, they're like, I can't afford it. I'm like, I know, I did that for 13 years. But there was a point where I realized, wait a minute, it's not good for me to be doing this. This is a lot of time I'm putting into this. I'm getting busier. And so I think a lot of entrepreneurs or founders don't get admins fast enough. And then they don't trust admins.
That's a big one.
You know, and so I think they'd rather buy nice clothes or take a trip or buy a nicer car or a better laptop, and they're not investing in themselves, and their time is very important. It's their biggest value. I can make more money, but I can't make more time. And I think about that a lot.